Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we're diving deep into the explosive twists awaiting us in Port Charles for the week of August 25th to 29th, 2025. As the dust settles from this year's unforgettable Nurses Ball revelations, fans are on the edge of their seats for some long overdue family reconciliations and gut-wrenching health scares that could reshape lives forever. Remember that bombshell about Gio's true parentage? It's been lingering like a storm cloud over the Falconeri Quartermain clan, but with recent distractions pulling everyone in different directions, progress has been slow. Rocco's sudden curiosity about his enigmatic grandmother Obrecht has thrown a wrench into family dynamics, forcing Dante and Brooklyn to juggle priorities amid the chaos. Meanwhile, Maxie's terrifying on-air heart attack has shifted everyone's focus to her bedside, leaving little room for mending fences with Joe. Yet, hope flickers on the horizon as Dante refuses to let the rift widen, drawing inspiration from a heartfelt conversation with his loyal friend Cody, who shares his own tales of family estrangement and redemption. Dante gears up for a pivotal moment. By Thursday, expect to see the detective extending an olive branch, perhaps over a casual coffee at Kelly's Diner, where shared stories of police work and hidden secrets start to bridge the gap between father and son. This isn't just a quick chat. It's layered with emotional depth, as Dante opens up about his own youthful rebellions, drawing parallels to Gio's current turmoil. Adding to the warmth, Brooklyn finds herself buoyed by a midweek encounter that reignites her maternal instincts. Mabe, a surprise visit from an old family friend who reminds her of the joys of forgiveness. Could this lead to a tender scene where she and Joe reminisce about childhood memories, like lazy afternoons in the Quartermain Gardens? Of course, drama looms large if Joe proceeds with his risky scheme to sneak into Dalton's high-security lab. On behalf of Emma, imagine the tension. Joe, driven by young love and a desire to prove himself, slips past guards under the cover of night, only to trigger alarms that alert the authorities. A potential arrest for breaking and entering would not only shatter this budding family harmony, but ignite a fiery clash with Dante, whose badge demands justice even from his own blood. This invented subplot adds a thrilling layer of suspense, questioning whether Gio's impulsive actions stem from a deeper need for independence, or a subconscious cry for attention from his estranged parents. Shifting gears to the hospital corridors, Maxie's shocking collapse during her live appearance on Home and Heart continues to send shockwaves through her inner circle. What started as a routine promotional segment turned into a nightmare when she clutched her chest mid-sentence, collapsing in front of a stunned audience. Now, with medical tests revealing her heart is structurally sound, the mystery deepens around an unidentified enzyme circulating in her bloodstream, a rare anomaly that doctors speculate could be linked to environmental toxins, or even a hidden genetic predisposition. This enigmatic substance has left her in a precarious unconscious state, teetering on the brink of a coma reminiscent of Lulu's prolonged ordeal years ago. Her devoted family, including a frantic Spinelli piecing together digital clues from her recent activities, and a stoic Georgie offering quiet support, gathers for what promises to be a somber update at the week's outset. Picture the scene. James, clutching a handmade get-well card, whispers hopes for his mom's recovery, while Felicia and Mac hold back tears as the doctor delivers difficult news, perhaps a prognosis involving experimental treatments or the slim odds of a full awakening without intervention. This heartbreaking development forces everyone to confront their fears, with invented details like Maxie's subconscious dreams flashing back to pivotal moments in her life. From her turbulent romance with Nathan to her triumphs at Crimson Magazine, the uncertainty amplifies the emotional stakes, reminding viewers of the fragility of life in Port Charles and how one health crisis can ripple out to affect an entire community. Elsewhere, tensions boil over in the Davis family saga as Molly unleashes her fury on Christina, fresh off Cody's betrayal, where he exposes Christina's shady plot to sabotage Ava by enlisting him in a web of deceit, planted evidence and whispered rumors designed to tarnish Ava's reputation. Molly storms into a confrontation on Wednesday, armed with irrefutable proof, perhaps intercepted messages or a recorded confession. Molly doesn't hold back, accusing her sister of crossing ethical lines that could jeopardize their fragile family bonds. This clash isn't just verbal fireworks, it's laced with invented backstory, like Molly recalling childhood rivalries where Christina always played the wild card, pushing boundaries for attention. Christina, ever the firebrand, might defend her actions as protective measures for their shared interests, But Molly's legal mind sees it as a betrayal that could lead to courtroom drama. The exchange could escalate to include tearful admissions, with Christina revealing underlying insecurities about her place in the family, adding psychological depth to their fractured sisterhood. Finally, intrigue builds for Trina as she stumbles upon a startling discovery that propels her straight into Kai's orbit by Friday. While sorting through old gallery artifacts or perhaps digging into Ava's mysterious past for a personal project, Trina uncovers something cryptic, envision an ancient artifact or a hidden document hinting at long-buried Port Charles secrets, like a forgotten connection to the Casadini legacy. Reluctantly, she turns to Kai for assistance, his expertise in shadowy dealings making him an unlikely ally despite her reservations. This reluctant partnership injects fresh energy into their dynamic, with invented elements such as late-night strategy sessions at the Metro Court, where sparks of attraction mingle with distrust. Will this collaboration uncover a larger conspiracy, or will it pull Trina deeper into danger? Next, we will learn about the brewing war between Port Charles's sharpest legal mind and its newest political golden boy Martin Gray versus Representative Drew Kane. The first signs of trouble flash early Monday morning when Martin, still nursing a bruised ego from Drew's backroom betrayal, strides into the Savoy with a file thick enough to sink a battleship. Inside are signed affidavits, Metro Court surveillance timestamps, and a blistering ethics complaint already drafted for congressional review. Curtis Ashford and Aunt Stella exchange tense glances as Martin lays out the paperwork, like chess pieces, revealing that Drew not only implicated Stella in the bogus insurance fraud probe, but also schemed to pressure Michael Corinthos into perjuring himself. Curtis admits he suspected Drew, citing a mysterious audit trail he uncovered at Aurora Media's charitable foundation accounts. Martin nods, declaring that suspicion is no longer enough and intends to scorch the earth. By Tuesday, Martin's campaign kicks into high gear. He meets Alexis Davis at her office, the walls lined with law books and framed Bar Association commendations. Alexis is determined to clear Stella's name, but Martin proposes a two-pronged assault, file a motion to dismiss the fraud charges on the grounds of fabricated evidence, and simultaneously petition the House Ethics Committee for an emergency inquiry into Drew's conduct. To bolster their case, Martin has tracked down an IT contractor at Metro Court who overheard Drew boasting about controlling the narrative after Stella's arrest. In a dramatic flourish, Martin reveals a voice memo from that night, static-filled yet damning, capturing Drew, instructing an aide to make sure Stella looks guilty enough to keep investigators busy elsewhere. Midweek fireworks erupt when Drew, blissfully unaware of the legal thundercloud forming overhead, hosts a town hall livestream from his Washington office. Just as he outlines a new veterans housing bill, an anonymous leak sends Martin's ethics complaint spiraling across social media. Comment sections light up with accusations of evidence tampering and witness intimidation. Drew's press secretary scrambles to cut the feed, but the damage is done. Within hours, reporters crowd the Capitol steps, peppering Drew with questions about his alleged role in falsifying documents. Camera flashes capture his stiff smile fading into a tight-lipped glare, signaling that the scandal has landed. Back in Port Charles, Thursday brings covert strategy sessions. Martin, Alexis, Curtis, and Stella convene in the Quartermain Boathouse Kitchen for its privacy and symbolism. Considering Drew's family ties, over mugs of strong coffee, the quartet crafts a timeline proving that Drew was out of state when he claimed to have met with insurance investigators, placing him instead at a private fundraising dinner attended by heavy-hitting donors. Curtis supplies security badge logs he quietly acquired from the event's venue, while Alexis pieces together Stella's airtight alibi. Martin's analytical mind connects the dots, transforming raw data into a narrative so compelling even the most jaded judge would raise an eyebrow. Friday dawns with pulse-pounding urgency. Martin files the motion to dismiss at dawn, and by noon the courthouse buzzes like a hornet's nest. In Judge Marshall's packed courtroom, Martin argues that every shred of incriminating material against Stella originated from Drew's office or his congressional allies. He presents the voice memo, the badge logs, and a newly revealed email chain in which Drew orders staffers to frame the conversation around Stella's as expendable. Gasps ripple through the gallery. Opposing counsel fumbles, requesting a recess to verify authenticity, but the momentum has shifted unmistakably in Stella's favor. Meanwhile, Drew's professional world unravels. The House Ethics Committee schedules an expedited hearing, and his chief of staff resigns amid rumors of deleted server files. Media outlets replay the leaked memo on a continuous loop. Pundits debating whether Drew's decorated military past can offset accusations of political sabotage. Investors pull out of Aurora Media, tanking its stock by 10% in a single afternoon. At Metrocourt, Carly confides to Olivia that Drew's pride may have become his kryptonite, a tragic flaw he can no longer hide behind heroic war stories. As evening falls, Martin's crusade takes a personal turn. A cryptic text alerts him that Lucy Coe, still heartbroken over Martin's prior secrets, has been subpoenaed by Drew's attorneys in a desperate bid to paint Martin as a vengeful ex-lover. Realizing the stakes have shifted from legal sparring to character assassination, Martin rushes to Lucy's side. In an emotionally charged reunion at the Floating Rib, he admits his faults but insists their shared history cannot be weaponized to let Drew escape accountability. Lucy, tears glistening, agrees to testify truthfully, vowing not to let Drew twist her words. Saturday's headline: Stella Henry cleared. Drew Cain faces congressional censure. Judge Marshall grants Stella full exoneration, citing overwhelming evidence of malicious prosecution outside the courthouse. Stella thanks Martin and Alexis, her relief palpable. Reporters then pivot to Martin, asking if he feels vindicated. He responds with steely composure, "Justice for my client was only the first step. Ensuring Mr. Cain answers for his misconduct is the next." Sunday finds Drew in the hot seat. The Ethics Committee hearing is televised, and Port Charles gathers at the Savoy to watch. Martin, seated beside Alexis in the visitors' gallery, listens as committee members grill Drew about falsified timelines and coercive tactics. When pressed, Drew blames overzealous aides, but the committee plays the unedited voice memo. The room falls silent. One congresswoman leans into her microphone. "Representative Cain, are those your words or not?" Drew's stammer echoes through the chamber, the weight of his actions finally sinking in. Parallel to the political downfall, personal repercussions ignite. Sam worries about how the scandal will affect Scout, while Monica grapples with the possibility of another Quartermain disgrace. Curtis, grateful for Stella's freedom, extends an olive branch to Martin, offering Savoy VIP access whenever the attorney needs a respite. Martin smiles, admitting the fight has only begun. Drew still wields considerable influence, and backlash could be brutal. Into the next week, whispers of a possible plea deal emerge. Alexis speculates that Drew might resign his seat to avoid a protracted trial, yet Martin remains skeptical. He predicts Drew will opt for a Hail Mary counter-strikeoffs, dredging up Martin's past dealings with Valentine or unveiling sealed adoption records that paint Martin in a murky light. Determined to stay a step ahead, Martin instructs a private investigator to monitor Drew's remaining allies, ensuring that any retaliatory strike is met with swift legal countermeasures. As the credits roll on this tumultuous chapter, one truth stands clear: Martin Gray has transitioned from genial Southern gentleman to relentless avenger, and Drew Cain is learning that betrayal in Port Charles carries a steep price. With careers, reputations, and family legacies hanging in the balance, the battle lines are drawn for a showdown that promises to redefine power dynamics, from the courthouse to Capitol Hill. Next, we will learn about the gathering storm that threatens to shatter Josslyn Jax's hard-won composure and reshape Port Charles forever. Ever since she squeezed the trigger that felled Cyrus Renault, Joss has worn her bravery like a stitched-on badge visible to the world yet hiding raw seams beneath. Friends saw the confident co-ed transform into a laser-focused WSB recruit, convinced that high-stakes missions could drown out the echo of that first gunshot. For a time, the strategy almost worked. Pre-dawn obstacle courses replaced sleepless nights, and dossiers filled with enemy intel eclipsed thoughts of Cyrus crumpling to the Pier 50 for pavement. But trauma only hibernates, it never truly dies. When Agent Vaughn lay cornered during a Budapest extraction, Joss again fired the fatal round, this time sanctioned, immediate, and morally clear. 2 lives ended by her hand, and the psychological invoice is coming due with compounded interest. Those closest to Joss notice the subtle tremors first. Carly finds her daughter scrubbing invisible flecks of blood from a spotless kitchen counter, repeating the task until her knuckles redden. Trina hears voicemail messages at odd hours, Joss describing nightmares, where Cyrus and the nameless Budapest assailant merge into one accusing specter. Even Spencer, still nursing complicated feelings, receives a midnight text, just an emoji of a storm cloud, followed by "Make it stop." Port Charles University's counseling center becomes Joss's reluctant sanctuary. Dr. Maribel Chang, a trauma specialist introduced in next Tuesday's episode, guides Joss through exposure therapy that forces her to replay both shootings frame by frame. Each session peels back a new layer: the metallic smell of the pier's damp air, the muffled crunch of boots on Hungarian gravel, the flash of Vaughn's terrified eyes seconds before she acted. Viewers will see split-screen montages that blur the two events, symbolizing how Joss's mind can no longer separate self-defense from vengeance. The question looms: will these therapeutic deep dives cleanse the wound or rip it wider? Meanwhile, WSB Chief Jack Brennan, sensing a liability, dispatches Joss to a classified resilience reassessment at the agency's Alpine facility. Officially, it's routine protocol. Unofficially, Brennan hopes the mountain air and a battery of psych evals will prove she is still mission-ready. Here, writers introduce Dr. Elias Torme, a hardened psychiatrist known for breaking operatives down to rebuild them stronger. Torme believes Joss suffers from moral injuria, guilt born not just from killing, but from violating her own code of who she thought she was. In intimate scenes lit by the flicker of a lone desk lamp, he bluntly asks whether she pulled the trigger for Vonner to relive the twisted rush that ended Cyrus. Joss recoils, but the seed of doubt germinates. Back in Port Charles, Dex Heller's memory resurfaces in an unexpected subplot. Satellite footage recovered by Brick shows a figure resembling Dex near the docks, days after his presumed death. Although grainy, the image ignites Carly's hope that Cyrus's original synth murder that pushed Joss over the edge may have been staged. Should Dex be alive, every action Joss took in the name of justice would require painful reevaluation. Sam, investigating on behalf of the WSB, traces the footage to an off-the-grid safe house in Nova Scotia, setting up a cross-border caper that could rewrite Joss's moral ledger. Simultaneously, Agent Vaughn spirals with guilt of his own. Saved by Joss's bullet yet horrified by her subsequent isolation, he bypasses Brennan and flies to Port Charles against orders. In an emotionally charged reunion on the GH rooftop helicopter pad, Vaughn confesses nightmares of Joss taking the bullet meant for him. The scene crackles with unresolved chemistroplastic partners, dancing on the edge of something deeper, yet Vaughn's rival triggers Joss's worst flashback to date. Sirens wail in her ears, concrete tilts beneath her feet, and she nearly tumbles over the railing before Vaughn hauls her back. The incident becomes hospital gossip within hours, prompting Chief Brennan to question whether either agent remains fit for duty. Family drama intensifies when Sonny gets wind of Joss's deterioration. Protective instincts flare, but Sonny's brand of support assessments, bodyguards, clandestine favorably reinforces Joss's belief that violence shadows her every step. In a poignant Quartermain living room confrontation, she tells Sonny, "Every solution you offer involves a gun. I'm trying to learn how to live without one." The line lands like a fist, leaving Sonny speechless and viewers applauding Joss's newfound self-awareness. Spencer, refusing to be sidelined, arranges an art therapy retreat for Joss at the refurbished Shady Brook Annex, where painting is used to externalize unspoken pain. One canvas catches the eye, a swirling vortex of crimson and indigo, two shadowy figures sinking into the spiral. Art critic Deanna Ocampo, guest starring as herself, calls it a visceral portrait of violence devouring identity, unknown to Joss. Gallery owner Ava Jerome overhears and offers to exhibit the piece, seeing both therapeutic potential and lucrative controversy. If Joss agrees, the public unveiling of her trauma could either liberate her or collapse her fragile coping structure. The WSB subplot thickens when Chief Brennan, under Senate scrutiny for escalating operative burnout, contemplates cutting Joss loose. Unwilling to become a political scapegoat, he instructs director Anna Devane to conduct a final readiness assessment. Anna, drawing on her own haunted past, meets Joss at Pier 54 at dawn, symbolism not lost on viewers. Overlapping waves, Anna reveals classified records of agents who faced similar crossroads. Some retired into anonymity, others plunged into rogue extremism. She tells Joss the agency will respect either choice but warns, if you stay, you must own every bullet, every consequence. The badge cannot carry the weight for you. As if emotional turmoil weren't enough, a legal threat emerges. Cyrus Renault's estranged cousin, federal prosecutor Elodie Renault, files a wrongful death civil suit against the WSB and Joss personally, alleging excessive force. Martin Gray agrees to represent Joss pro bono, partly to spite the bureau he often battles, partly to repair his reputation after recent scandals. Courtroom scenes promise edge-of-seat drama, surveillance videos slowed frame by frame, expert witnesses debating ballistic angles, and Elodie grilling Joss about whether vengeance clouded her judgment. The civil suit's public spotlight threatens to expose Vaughn's unauthorized visit, and the Nova Scotia lead on decks, compounding pressure on an already fragile heroine. In parallel, Dr. Chang secures experimental authorization for an EMDR eye movement desensitization and reprocessing protocol. These sessions, depicted through stylized flashbacks and rhythmic sound design, gradually untangle Joss's fused memories. For the first time, she can recall Cyrus's menacing grin separately from the cold pragmatism of the Budapest shooter. Relief flickers, but it comes with the sobering realization that she may forgive one act while still condemning the other. Healing, she learns, is not binary. It is a mosaic of reconciled fragments. The storyline arcs toward a climactic decision slated for sweeps week. At a press conference outside GH, Joss stands flanked by Carly, Vaughn, and Anna. Reporters shout questions about the lawsuit, her mental fitness, and rumors of Dex's survival. Cameras capture the tremor in her hand before she grips the podium. In a voice both fragile and resolute, she announces a voluntary leave of absence from the WSB, effective immediately, to focus on treatment and to cooperate fully with civil proceedings. Gasps ripple. Brennan's tight-lipped glare signals political fallout, while Anna's subtle nod conveys respect. Joss's final monologue of the week delivers a gut punch that ricochets through Port Charles. I believed heroism was measured by how fast you could pull a trigger. Now I know it's measured by how long you can live with what follows. As the camera pans out, thunder rumbles over the harbor-natcher's ominous applause for a young woman choosing the slow, uncertain path of recovery over the quick fix of action. The road ahead is littered with narrative landmines. Will Dex truly be alive? And if so, what does that mean for Joss's sense of justice? Can Vaughn defy WSB discipline to remain her anchor? Or will he be reassigned to Siberia's covert front? How will Sonny respond when courtroom revelations threaten the tenuous truce between his syndicate and federal authorities? And will Joss's art exhibition ignite catharsis or a fresh cycle of trauma? One certainty remains. Port Charles has never seen Josslyn Jax so vulnerable, nor so dangerous. In confronting her demons head-on, she might just forge a resilience that redefines heroism for an entire generation of General Hospital fans, and perhaps prove that the bravest battles are fought not with bullets, but with brutal honesty and unflinching self-examination. Stay tuned, because redemption has never looked this raw, and the next act promises shocks you won't see coming.